Hello there, everybody. I hope you've all had a wonderful work week. So, how long has it been since your marketing team was restructured? Well, if I put on my magic mind-melding hat here, I'm going to take a guess and say that every single one of you just said either last year or the year before. I don't know. Uncanny, right? Maybe not so much. You see, new research is out from Marketing Week's 2024 Career and Marketing Salary Survey, and they found that, well, almost half of all marketing teams have restructured within the last 12 months. And that means that the other half probably did it the year before. So why all of a sudden are marketing teams restructuring so often? Or are they? Is this a new thing, or is this something that's just, well, now part of marketing? And what does it all mean? We want to know more? Well, this is a few minutes of what's new in marketing that might help you lead your business strategy. Let's get out the org charts and make some dotted lines, and yeah, let's roll. Hello, everybody. Robert Rose here with What's New in Marketing. It is about what's new in marketing, but most importantly, it's something important in marketing that we may think help you become a better leader. And by the way, if we can help you or your team with custom training or consulting or ongoing implementation of your content marketing approach, I want you to let us know at contentmarketinginstitute.com. So if you're on a marketing team, there's a really good chance that you and your team, well, you've changed responsibilities and they look a lot different than they did a year or two ago. Now, according to new research from Marketing Week's 2024 Career and Salary Survey, almost half, meaning 46.5% of marketing teams, restructured themselves in the last year. And that's a 5% increase from 2023, when the same survey found that 41.4% of teams changed their overall structure. But, and here's the interesting thing, that is down markedly from the 56.5% of marketing teams that restructured in 2022. Most likely this is reflecting all the new realities of remote work, the fallout of the pandemic, the new digital marketing trends, etc. So maybe we should change that headline, right? I mean, maybe the real story here isn't that, holy smokes, 46% of businesses restructured their marketing teams last year. It should be only 46% restructured their business and marketing teams this year. Put really simply, marketing teams are now in the business of changing, and frequently. But there are two real questions here. And the first is why? I mean, we don't see this happening in other parts of the business, right? Accounting teams very rarely get restructured, and usually only if there's something dramatic happening across the broader spectrum of the organization. I mean, the same goes for legal or operations. So what is it? Is it that marketing changes too frequently, or the other functions in our business don't change frequently enough? We'll come back to that. But the second question is, wait a minute, we haven't reorganized our marketing teams in some time. So does that mean we're behind? And if so, from what should we be changing into what? I mean, in other words, what are these marketing teams organizing into? Are we missing out by not doing it? What are these new structures that we should be operating in? Or if we're on the other end of that spectrum, are we changing too fast? Are the companies that not changing, are they being more successful? Okay, that's more than one question, I grant you. But basically the second question with a lot of subparts is, should we be restructuring our marketing right now? Well, centralization seems to be the key theme coming out of the pandemic and the faster change of pace over the last 3 years. And this is according to analyst firm Gartner. And they said they've seen a distinct pattern over the last few years to move to a fully centralized model for marketing. CMOs that they looked at reported that, quote, responsibilities across the marketing organization have shifted. Marketing's sole responsibilities for marketing operations, marketing strategy, and marketing-led innovation have increased. End quote. Well, that seems weird, right? I mean, that they wouldn't have in charge of that, or that one team. Well, we find, though, that there were individual teams that report up all the way through different parts of the organization instead of being one central team. As Gartner basically reported, activities like marketing operations, marketing innovation, brand management, digital, those as a central idea of marketing in general are up double percentage points over the last few years. But what does all that mean? I mean, in much plainer language, and this is something we've also noticed in our own client work, our research with practitioners, et cetera, it's just increasingly tougher to create a collaborative environment if you're all siloed off from one another. Marketing and content creation processes are complex. There are lots of people doing more small parts to creative, content, channel management, measurement. It's just a lot harder these days to get stuff done when we're not one big joined up team. And honestly, it's all coming down to how do we communicate and coordinate much better with our content creation processes. This is what modern marketing innovation is becoming, an idea of a content factory working together to operate in a coordinated, consistent, and collaborative way. Let me give you an example. Of the 25 companies that we worked on last year with their content and marketing operations, all 25 of them had some level of restructuring fatigue. We were not invited into a business where there were eager creative teams, operations teams, analytics teams, media teams, and digital tech teams all champing at the bit for more new roles, more new responsibilities, more operational changes. They had just been through that, and they were still trying to settle in from the last restructuring that had happened. What ended up working was fine-tuning a mostly centralized model into a fully centralized model, an operational model. It wasn't a full restructure, just a nudge to keep going on the pattern that they were already on. Now, in most of these situations, the Gartner data still rings true, right? For the most part, the overall shift has been to get a much tighter, closer, and more collaborative set of marketing teams working together to collaborate, produce, and measure more efficiently and effectively. As Gartners themselves said, really in their true sort of Gartner speak fashion, CMOs had, quote, marginal losses of sole responsibility in favor of shared and collaborative were also reported across capabilities essential for digital-oriented growth, including digital media, digital commerce, CX, customer experience, etc. To put that into much simpler terms, we gave up the idea of teams owning one part of the customer experience or content type or channel and siloing them off from each other, and we have moved into a more collaborative sharing of the customer experiences, the content types across the entirety of that journey. This can be a very productive change. It's funny. Almost 10 years ago now, Carla Johnson and I wrote about this exact thing in our book, Experiences, the Seventh Era of Marketing. We talked about the idea of building to change. We were talking about marketing teams in the future, and we said, quote, tomorrow's marketing and communication teams succeed by learning to adapt continuously and by deploying systems of engagement that facilitate adaptation. By constantly building to change, the marketing department builds to succeed. So what we were talking about was that the marketing team of the future wouldn't be asking, what are we changing into? Rather, just be capable of change no matter what is coming down the pipe. So we may finally be seeing the tipping point here of just exactly that. With half of all marketing teams restructuring and changing every 2 years, that may just be the reaction to shifting markets and might just be how we have to think of marketing in the modern era. Not trying to build something that has to be torn down and restructured every few years, but something more fluid that is built to adapt and change into whatever it needs to be tomorrow. The strength then comes not in knowing what you need to change or what you'll change into, but that you have the confidence and knowledge and capability and capacity to change into whatever it is you need to change into. And that is a few minutes of what's new in marketing that you might need to lead your strategy. And remember, until I see you next week, it is your story to tell. Well, learn how to tell it well. I'll see you next week.